Everyone, Robert Allen here from Tokyo, Japan. It's 6:03 in the morning, and we're going to have a Goldmiind conversation because all of us have to enroll people in ARCs. This is one of our streams of income, and as the author of multiple streams of income, this is one of those streams, isn't it? And you all got different ways of making money. Different ways of bringing money in the door to solve the problem of eating and sleeping somewhere. So ARCs is one of my favorites. It's my favorite. It's the number one for me. So welcome to our call. We have been discussing these 4 skills that you need to build in order to find 4 people in your first 8 weeks. And this is a skill you'll need to learn to teach. First of all, you've got to do it yourself. Be on track to do that every single 8 weeks yourself, just so that you know that it's possible for you to do it, so that if somebody comes into your organization, one of those 4 people you enroll, you can say, I've done it, you can do it, let me show you how. So today we're going to be covering the conversation about how do you build your stream as quickly as you can. I'll go into my PowerPoint here. Brenda, is that available? Can you see that?
Yes.
Great. So this is February the 1st, 2016. Obviously, the Multiple Streams of Income book has also been translated into Japanese, which is where I am right now. What all of that says there on the front cover, and I didn't learn this till just a couple of years ago. You know, when you write a book, it's called the Multiple Streams of Income. Don't you expect that they would translate that exactly the way you wrote it in your book? But what that says on those big letters is the millionaire man. You know, just had nothing to do with the message I was trying to portray. But this is sold like crazy all over Japan. So I have all kinds of people who come up to me, and a lot of people will bring me a copy of this particular book. It's the same content, just the title's a little strange. And so I left a week ago today for you, a Monday, to fly to Tokyo. And this is where this beautiful country is. 100 million people live here. This is the 3rd most productive country on the face of the planet. And it's amazing what has been accomplished here when you think about it. In just 50, 60 years, when the country was completely leveled and they had to start from scratch, and we helped them start from scratch, and they have just grown spectacularly, and this society is really amazing. So here in Tokyo is where we are talking to you right now, and there was a Jove launch here. Although we launched in Jove in November of 2015, this was their launch week, and on Saturday, the audience was jammed into a very nice venue, showing this Jove product. And this is a photo of a person who sat in a little event that I held, and I wanted to show how the Jove product worked. And I was kind of crossing my fingers. I hope it works. This gentleman was sitting on the front row. He's 67 years old and the same age as myself. And he said, I want to try it. So nervously, sometimes when you put this on somebody's face, you wonder what's going to happen. But here, 2 minutes later, is his crow's feet. Look at the difference. It's amazing. This product is spectacular, and I believe it's the gateway product. It's the product that opens the door as a person sees how it works, and they get an instant belief about it. Then it kind of like opens the door to all the other products we have, and even the opportunity of network marketing. So I think it's the instantaneous product that we've been looking for, something you can demonstrate quickly and easily. So here we are at the convention, at the launch in Tokyo, and I got a chance to speak to this group. I only had 5 minutes because it's jam-packed with everybody who wants to talk. And they gave me 5 minutes to talk about what I call the wow of this product. And it's a wow product. And I tried to discover 3 wow words that and we can think about it in English, but in Japanese, I was going through thesauruses and dictionaries to find out what would be 3 wow words. And one word is youth, and the word youth or young in Japanese is wakai, and then O is Okaman Choja, and that's a person who's a millionaire. And then the final W is waku waku, which means exciting, you know. So they just loved it. We just had so much fun with that very simple 5-minute demonstration. So here I'm talking about wow. See how I'm holding my hand? I'm saying this is a wow product, and it is. It's a wow product. And so we finished the program there. The very next day, it was a launch in Osaka, which is a little further south. You take a bullet train, and we zip by the Mount Fuji, which I climbed halfway up to last July, and we got wiped out by a typhoon on that day. The typhoon hit, and we were right in the middle of it. It was cold and windy, and there was no way we could go to the top. So I'm going to have to climb it again this next August, because when you see the country of Japan, it's the icon of Japan is Fuji. And so on the way to Osaka, and this is a bad photo of Osaka because there's beautiful tall buildings all around where I'm at there, but this is the photo from my room, and this is where they launched it. And this one, there was one of the top leaders in Japan has his group there. So there's almost 1,500 people in this room, young, excited, distributors. This is one of the top distributors in Japan. Ochi is his name, Ochi-san. And he and I were sitting right there on the front row as I got up to speak. Just before I spoke, there was a young gentleman who got up, and his story was so empowering. He said, 2 years ago, I was working at McDonald's, and now my life is forever changed. And can you imagine somebody working at McDonald's and the future that's going to hold for most people? And now he's standing on the stage receiving an award, a rank, and earning. He's changing his life, and I get to chat with that group as well about the wow, and I changed it slightly, but this is a wow product. So now I took the bullet train back to Tokyo, had some business meetings yesterday and a couple today. I had to do the call with you, and so essentially I couldn't fly back yesterday because I would have arrived while this call would have gone on. I could have recorded it, but I just didn't want to. I wanted this call to be live. So here we are talking to you from the Shinagawa station, and all the trains are coming in right down there. And well, let's see. I guess you can't see that, can you? It's kind of black out. But all the major trains in Japan are coming in right down there at the Prince Hotels where I'm staying. Now, what our conversation has been about is these 4 skills, and we've touched on them over the last month. And I want to get on a schedule where I'm speaking in depth on one skill every single week. And I've kind of gotten behind a week. So more than likely, I'm going to probably record one for the month of February, because I need to finish up on the 4th skill with you. But just to remind you where we've talked about these 4 essential skills, clarity, getting clear on what you really want, or what, if you're enrolling somebody in RX, getting clear on what they really want, really involving them in that conversation. And then the next one is anticipating the good things and the bad things that are going to come. Sometimes we anticipate the challenges, but we don't anticipate the champions. And what that really means is you have to be open and aware for the challenges that are coming at you. They're going to come, at least 5 of them. But in a sense, they're going to be angels that are showing up on your doorstep too. Champions that you got to always keep your mind open for. Is this a champion to come help me? Then the third conversation we had was about ritual and how you prepare yourself on a daily basis to be able to go out and fight the fight. It's usually in the morning for me, but it's preparation time where you get out to, as my mentor Stephen Covey would say, there's the battle inside and there's the battle outside. There's getting yourself ready to prepare the external battle, and then finally now I got to go do some stuff. I got to do some tasks. I've got to do some steps, and I've broken these down into 3 essential steps. And I want you to take your entire future, and I want you to boil it down into 3 essential concepts. this clarity that we've been talking about, and these little pictures that we've been creating, are just to kind of get the concepts out of your mind and onto a piece of paper so that it gets more clear for you. And this was a clarity conversation I had with somebody in Japan, and you can see she's signed her name down at the bottom. She and I drew that together. She now has a clear idea of exactly what she wants to get accomplished, and she was excited. We also went through the challenges that she has to overcome, the 5 various different problems that she has to take place. I'm showing you, the images that are going to be in the brand new book, Grow, that will be released this month, and you'll all get a copy of it. It's free as part of your membership with RX. But I usually prefer, frankly, rather than showing you these, nice images, I prefer to draw them out on my whiteboard, as I do usually when I'm broadcasting from my home in the United States. But these are just the images, the summaries of what we discussed. 2 weeks ago we talked about the whirlwind and the learning curve, the marshmallows and the cliffs and the storms that are going to hit every one of us. And somebody emailed me, Sandra, thank you. She said in an email, and you can always email me at author@robertallen.com. I'm an author at robertallen.com. She said, on Monday I enrolled 2 preferred customers using clarity and anticipation. And I edited her email just slightly, Sandra. I hope that's okay with you. And so I'm curious, how did you do it? What was the secret? How did it work? And so she says, because I'm a personal trainer, I offer a transformational Slenderize program. And the people use the products, and I set them up on a personalized workout program. So she did some advertising to attract people into her world. And with the program advertised, I met with 2 of my clients, and immediately she went right through this process with them. And it's what she felt really put her over the top to get these clients to become preferred customers. Number 1, we talk about the dreams, just step number 1, or clarity. Number 2, we talk about what they want to get, what they want to get rid of. What are the pluses and the minuses? Remember, that's part of clarity. And they want to get rid of obesity or being tired or high blood sugar or whatever. And then I ask, how strongly motivated are you to go from one side, from the bottom to the top, from the frowny face to the smiley face? How motivated are you to get there? Because now she talks about the anticipation. Now, no matter what their goals are, they're going to have 5 roadblocks or obstacles they're going to have to get through if they want to climb. If you want to climb from low to high, and then she talks about their dream and how she'll help them get there. But Slenderize is the secret. It's the way to get them from the frowny face to the smiley face. And that's the vehicle that'll get them there. And so she says that you'll have to enroll. But I want you to know, your first step on this mountain you're going to climb, your first step is to get Slenderize. And let's get started. Let's get enrolled. So thank you, Sandra, for sharing that with me. And if you have any other, emails or success stories you want to share with us, please email me at author@robertallen.com. Doug sent me this one. Bob, one nugget from anticipation of expecting heroes, or these champions that are waiting for us, made a huge impact on my phone outreach. In other words, rather than being afraid of what people might say, he's saying, well, maybe somebody is going to say something nice. Maybe there's going to be a champion on the other side of that phone rather than a challenge. And usually when people, have a telephone and they're ready to pick up to talk to somebody, you heard that, the 1-ton telephone, they think they just can't reach it. They can't lift it up because it's too heavy. Well, the goal for you is to, as you get ready to lift up your phone or to dial your cell phone, however you're calling, you should just plant that thought in your head. Somebody might be actually praying that this call comes to them right now. Somebody might be looking for the solution. Somebody might be excited by my call instead of challenged by my call. Usually when you have a fear, you always imagine the worst case scenario. So if you're trying to call somebody and you're worried, I'm probably going to catch them at dinner time. They're probably in the middle of eating right now. And if I call them, I'll be bugging them. And well, what if they were right there in that very moment saying, man, I really need a solution. This weight has got to come off, or man, I got to make some money, or man, I'm so alone. There's nobody to help me. And then your phone call comes and they go, what? Thank you. And they pick up your phone and they answer your call and you say, hi, I just knew it was the time to call. Every so often that happens. And I don't think it happens because of random accidents. I think it happens because that's sometimes the way the universe works. The universe, however you describe him or her, the universe, my way I call this my Heavenly Father. And my Heavenly Father is unbelievably omnipotent. And he knows your problems, he knows ours. He knows mine. He controls this giant Rubik's Cube of the universe that all the combinations can come together where your call can show up with their desire at a one moment in time. It's unbelievably intricate, but I think the universe knows. And every once in a while, maybe more often than you think, things come together just like that if you're anticipating them, if you're expecting them. Now, there may be challenges, but now you anticipate the challenges, you know what to do. You know you have to climb the mountain no matter what the challenge is, don't you? So if they don't like your phone call, then you go, I knew that would probably happen. And if they do like your phone call, you go, I was waiting for that one. And therefore, no matter what happens in your calling, you're on target, you're on task. And so that's the process. Now, the ritual is, the daily preparation to get yourself there. And we went into detail on that last week. And now let's talk about tasks. So these ideals and dones and musts. Let's see, a little bit of noise in the background. So forgive me, I'm going to mute everybody. Except Brenda. Okay. All right, I think that might be you, Brenda, is it? No? Okay, I've got everybody muted. Somehow, somebody, there we go. There we go, sorry. Let's mute that. All right, can you hear me still, Brenda? Okay, good. So, I'm going to come out here live for just a second, and let's just talk about your future. Hold your thumbs up, Brenda, if my images come back. Great, thank you. Here you are. You're in the now. This is all you ever get, the now. Yes, you have a past and all the things that have happened, and you can either learn from them or you can be miserable about them. And if you want to learn from those things more quickly, then you have to learn how to laugh faster after every disaster, because ultimately, as they say, humor is tragedy plus time. That's the definition of humor: tragedy plus time. Eventually, you're going to laugh about this if you learn from it, and if you're not laughing about it, you haven't learned from it yet. Maybe you haven't had enough time elapsed, but eventually you're going to go, oh my gosh, what an idiot I was. But now you're here, you go, well, I'm here now, and now you've got a future in front of you, and you cannot drag that stuff behind you with you. If you're going to drag it, drag the good things with you. And if you're going to drag it, drag the wisdom with you. Bring the wisdom and the good things that have happened to you, and bring them into today, into right now, and take a deep breath of that and say, at least I'm here, and I can take one of those breaths. How good that feels. When I had my car accident in 2003 and woke up in the hospital bed and started to breathe, because I was on life support in a coma, and I didn't know where I was. But when I woke up and saw my family at the foot of my bed and took that breath and recognized it, it was like, Thank you, 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 thank you. I could not say thank you enough. I still every day say that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So every breath is a miracle. Now, this future you want to create with for your life is a miracle too, and you get to design it. You get to create it. And therefore, as you look out in the future, where you're asking someone to dream 5 years from now, well, how good do you want it? What kind of life do you want to create for yourself? You get to create it. So we talked about the things you could create in your life. You can create more love. You can create more money. You can create more health. You can create more free time. Most everybody you talk to will come up with one of those four, and almost usually all four of them. So which ones are the ones that you really want? And I want you to boil it down to three, not four, not six, not 10, but your ideal lifestyle will represent, when you think about it, at least three of those. And I'm trying to have you focus on three, because three is a good number, and it means you're not overwhelmed with too many details. And so you're saying, what do I really want when I get there in 5 years in the future? What do I want? And you're going to come up with two or three, and in order, what's really important to you. And this is your why, and these are what I call your ideals. And so, as you look at 5 years in the future, I want you to. There I am 5 years in the future. I want you to come back to 1 year, to a year's time frame. There's 5 years in the future, and now we're down to 1 year, and then we're down to 1 day. So as you look out of your future, this groove that I want you to be on constantly is, what do I got to get done today? Because this is the day that I have to operate on. I can't operate on tomorrow. Tomorrow is tomorrow, and I can't do a thing except what I do today. Yesterday was yesterday, and it's done. The only thing I get to drag from yesterday are the lessons I learned from yesterday about how to make today better, or the memories I drag from yesterday about how I succeeded yesterday. My failures, and there were many yesterday, my failures can now be transformed into wisdom, which is, okay, not going to do that again. Drag that forward and be in today. So today's the day you get to act. And then over this next year is something, it's a horizon that's foreseeable. You can see it. 90 days, 180 days, sometime in this next year, you've got to get some things done. And the question is, what do you get done? Well, as you look out into your future, out into 5 years, way out there, I want you to identify three things that you've got to get done in your ideal future. They've got to be there. And they're not going to be there. You're not going to show up there 5 years from now with those parts of your ideal lifestyle unless you act today and over the next year to get them. So I break them down into what I call today's, or the musts, things I must do. In the year that precedes us over this next year are the dones, not goals, and I'll discuss this, that lead to the ideals. And you can see them like looking down the sights. You can see these are the things I got to do today. Oh, that'll get done. That'll lead to the ideal. So let me come back to the PowerPoint here and show what I'm talking about. Can you see that, Brenda? Great. That you draw the frowny face and the smiley face as you do your daily planning. I recommend you, this is how you do it. And a lot of people have left brain plans, meaning, they've got a list of their to-do list of the things they've got to get done. Problem with to-do lists is they are, well, can I say this bluntly? To-do lists are some of the worst things you can do about organizing your life. Because on your to-do list, very rarely do you ever write an ideal. Very rarely do you ever write a done. You always write down the musts of the things you've got to get done that day. And usually the lists of musts are things that really aren't all that important. I've got to pick up the cleaning. I've got to call Jim about that thing we're going to do tomorrow. It's usually a list of to-dos that are not 80-20. That 20% of the things you do give you 80% of your results. You ever heard that before? That means if you do a few things, it gives you most of the results. And what is a to-do list? It's 80% of the things you do that give you 20% of your results. It's all kinds of little things that you put on your to-do list that don't really amount to a hill of beans. Tomorrow you would have forgotten them, maybe because you did them, but most people do their to-do lists to be able to cross things off so that they can prepare and clean the day so they can do the important things. And yet they never break out of the whirlwind because they're in the midst of all kinds of these little tiny things that they think they need to do in order to get something done. I got to check them off, cross them off, get all this. Okay, then I'm all clear. I'm ready to hit the ground. And the problem is you never clear the day. There is only one way to clear the day. That's to do the most important things first. To put the big rocks in the jar first. Then the sand, then the gravel, then the water. The big rocks, do them first. Get them off your list. And how do you know what the first ones are? You go to your ideals and you go, what's my ideal lifestyle? What am I trying to accomplish? Hold on a second. There we go. So you write down, there's the three things that must be on my ideal future. And you have to carve out of today and the whirlwind that's going on around about you, that little sliver of time where you don't allow the little things on your to-do list to attack you. You put up a barrier in your mind and say, I don't care that's got to get done. No, it's urgent, but this little sliver of time is important, and I'm going to do this first. And then you focus on those things that will eventually lead you to your ideal lifestyle. Now, you write down 2 or 3 things about your ideal lifestyle that are important to you. So maybe it's you want to be financially free, So you say, well, what does that mean to you? That's number 1 on that list for you. If that's it, then you say, well, I need to be making what? $5,000 a week? Residual income flowing into your RX business so that you're making $250,000 a year and you don't literally need to show up as long as you're paying for your auto ship, that you could literally travel and the money gets deposited automatically into your bank account. Would that be nice? Well, if I'm going to do that, then what do I have to do this year? What must be done this year? And so now you break it backwards. You go, well, if financial freedom is my first one, then my first done for today is what? Well, my first done for this year. And whatever date it happens to be, you're going to write that date down, the date when it is going to get done. So let's say there's a rank that you want to achieve in RX. So maybe it's a president. Maybe it's a senior officer. Maybe it's a chairman. I don't know. Setting that as your target. I know I'm trying to stay away from the word goal because goal is a weak word. Goal is a future-oriented word, and when you're living in your, well, since you only have now anyway, you have to do things now that will lead to the future you want. Therefore, you have to think about them from the past tense rather than the future tense. I know that's maybe sound convoluted. It's kind of messy. When you think of your dones, don't think of them as something you're going to do. Think of something that you already did. And by doing that, you access a different part of your brain. You access a part of your brain that thinks that it's real. And therefore, you act and attract those kinds of results that comes from a brain that is so focused on things that are done that they just get done. So let's suppose you could be a rank. You could say, oh, I'm going to be a chairman this year, but are you? Well, that means you're going to have to enroll 100 people, and you have to be working with them day and night for 365 days. If you do that, maybe you could be chairman. But more than likely, you've got a life to live, and you have only so much time that you can really dedicate it to it. You've got a family, you've got friends, you've got spiritual responsibilities, you've got a job you got to go to. Let's get real. Let's get serious here. More than likely, unless you quit your job and go at it full time, that isn't going to happen. Isn't that strange, me talking negatively here? You say, don't talk negatively to me, Bob. I want you to think seriously about this. And I want you to go, I would rather you set or declared a done. I don't call them setting goals any longer. I call it declaring a done. When you declare it, it means it's done. It means whatever it takes. And therefore, you declare something that is absolutely realistic for you, that you're going to do whatever it takes, move heaven and earth, as they say, to make sure that that gets done on the date you declared it to be done, so that it's no longer a goal. There's no, because you've set thousands of goals in your life, and you have achieved some of them, congratulations, but about 1% of the goals you really set ever really get done the way you want them to be done. And I need you to focus all of your attention on the 1% of what it took for you to accomplish those kinds of goals in the past. That 1% of the ones that really got done when you set your mind to it, that's what I want you to bring to the table here, and pour all of that energy and decision and commitment into that time frame to making sure that what you declare gets done. Therefore, you only have time for 2 or 3 of those kinds of commitments that are that strong. Now, obviously, in order to get that done this year, you must do something today, because days go, they happen. Tomorrow's going to be here before you know it. Did you do anything yesterday to make sure that this done you had declared that leads you to your ideal lifestyle is absolutely, is in the bank? In other words, that's the way you want you to be thinking about it. It's in the bank. It's not something that's sitting outside for the bank to open. It's deposited, already finished, done. So there's things you must do today. Like what? Well, number 1 on your list, if your future ideal is financial freedom, and the done for this year is to you reach the rank of, all right, president. I'm not sure where you are in your RX business. If you don't know what it takes, see, this is what it takes. You have to go, well, what does it take for me to be president? And you go, look, well, it means I've got to be making a check of, at least one check of $1,000 that week. I forgot the actual number. So I know the number for CEO. It's $4,000, because that was my done for June this last year. And boy, believe me, it was tough in order to accomplish it by the time I had set with all the other things I've got to do. So bottom line is you need to know what is the amount of check you need to be able to put into your bank account, so it's done. And then you go, well, that means I have to enroll how many people? And if you don't know what that takes, then go find somebody who has accomplished that rank and say, tell me, what did it take? How did you do it? How many people did you enroll? How did you help those people, etc.? You see what I'm saying? When it's done, it's not something that's just hopeful, wishy thinking. No wishy. It's serious, and it's done, because your life depends on it. Therefore, if your life depended on it, it doesn't, but you have to think that way. If your life depended on it, wouldn't you go and find out 5 people who'd reached that goal and talk to them? That done? Would you make lists of everybody you knew have ever met in your entire life? You would do whatever it took. And then back to the must, you'd say, oh, I must talk to 3 people today. The higher the done, the harder the done, the more you have to do today in order to make it happen. So you got to make sure that the things that you must do today must get done. If you got to talk to 3 people, that means if you've been busy all day long and it's 9 o'clock and you've been busy all day long and there just hasn't been time for you to break out of a meeting you've been involved in, a business meeting or whatever, an employee training you were at, and it's 9 o'clock at night and you declared that you needed to reach this rank and you knew you must talk to 3 people today, then before you head home, you stop at every convenience store. You go to a hotel where there's a seminar breaking up and you go to a lounge somewhere. That's not, strike that. You go to a restaurant. There we go. You go to a restaurant somewhere and you talk to people and you check it off your list. I said I would talk to 3 people. I talked to 3 people. I shared with them, and now you may not be the most professional doing it, and that's one of the reasons why network marketing sometimes is perceived as an amateur game, little money for little people, a little business for little people to make little money. That's the way most people think about network marketing, and frankly, I think that's a wonderful description because it is a little business. And it is for forgive me for saying little people, it's for beginning entrepreneurs to make a little bit of money, you betcha, so that they can make big money and that they can reach the dreams that they've set for themselves. And therefore, if you got to talk to 3 people today, you do whatever it takes. I mean, I heard about Schwarzenegger, coming back from a long flight, and obviously he was working on his body, and he would get into the hotel, check into his room, and run up and down the flights of stairs in the hotel at midnight. Because what? Because that's what he does. He makes sure he takes care of his body. Back then, anyway. So the bottom line is, what do you do? What must be done for you today? And that's how it kind of breaks down. Now, this pyramid, the success pyramid, is all kinds of little tiny things you got to get done, and over a 5-year period of time, you will have accomplished. Well, as you look at the numbers down there, if you did, let's say, was it 3? I'm not sure. How many did I write down? Oh well, if you had, I think it's 9 per day times by 5 years. I'm thinking what that number is. It's 5,475. I wrote it, but I forgot how I did it. Bottom line is, if you reach your ideal, you will have accomplished many, many little tasks on a daily basis, and piled up, they form the basis of your pyramid. You will have accomplished just 15 duns, just a few, 3 per year times 5 years. But you will have gotten them done, and they will lead to 3 aspects of your ideal lifestyle that'll be in the bank. It's the life you're living now, 5 years from now. That's the goal you're setting for yourself. So finally, with my final shot here, when you finish your chart for that day, it'll take you just a few minutes. You've got your frowny face. This is where you're trying to escape. And this is where you want to go up here in the future. This is your ideal lifestyle. You only have 3 things you're focusing on a daily basis, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself with too many things. If you overwhelm yourself with too many things, then unfortunately, have you ever been overwhelmed before? You're overwhelmed because there's so many things on your plate. You just don't have time to do them all. Steve Jobs was asked once, well, in his autobiography, and I loved his autobiography, kind of told the behind the scenes what really, really became, the iPhones and Mac computers and all kinds of things that have changed the world. It changed the world. He would have a meeting every year, once a year, weekend, say 3 or 4 day retreat, and he would invite 100 of his top people out of thousands to come to this meeting. And it was described as, if the company goes down, these are the 100 people that I invite into the lifeboat with me to launch the next company. In other words, these are so important to the company that they would go no matter what. And he would ask these 100 people, what are we going to do next year? You know, what's our plan for next year? What are the projects we should focus on? And they would brainstorm for the entire time and come up with a list of 10. And they would argue back and forth about what would be number 1 and number 2 and number 3, all the way to 10. And when the meeting was finally done, he would take out his black marker in his famous style and cross out the bottom 7. And he said, we can only do these 3. And therefore, if it ended up number 4 on the list, it did not get done. It wasn't done. He didn't call it that. But that's the languaging I'm now sharing with you, what I call musts and dones and ideals. But for him, this is the way the company operated, and they focused on those 3 only. When he came back to Apple, after having been kicked out of his own company, and the company, you know, on a tailspin, and they brought him back in to run it again, I think it was late 1990s, what did he do? He threw off most of the products that they'd been working on because they were ordinary products. They weren't great. They weren't insanely great, as he would say. And he focused on just a few. And he said, let's be insanely great at these few. And starting with that as a foundation, then they began to recover the company, which was almost gone, and then became, as of today and as of this year, the most profitable company in the world, publicly traded. Earned more profit than any company out of the hundreds of thousands, millions of companies in the world. The most profitable company. I want you to be the most profitable person. And how do you do that? Because you decide, you declare a few things must get done. Must today, get done this year, become your ideal lifestyle in the future. That's my challenge to you. So as you start your day, take out a blank piece of paper. Do it right now. Sideways, 8.5, 11. What have you got? Take out a blank piece of paper. Bottom left-hand corner. There's your frowny face. And there are some things about your life you don't like right now. You're grateful for your every breath you take, sure. But you know there are things you need to improve. And there are some things that you're happy with. Congratulations. And there are some areas that you know you got to work on. We all do. There's your dream. So draw your future ideal 5 years from now. And there are going to be 4 or 5 things of that ideal lifestyle that are really important. But what are the 3 most important? Eventually, you can work on number 4. Once you've got the first 3, you can go on 4, 5, 6, 10, 20. You can have ideal lifestyle in all areas. But let's focus on 3 for now. And what would be the most important? And so as you're doing your planning for that day, just break the mountain that you're climbing into 3 pieces, into 3 chunks. There's the things for today. That's your one day. Things for this year. What must get done. And then the ideals. So what's number 1? An ideal. And and you don't, after a while, if you do this, you don't have to write out a long sentence. Sometimes it's, for me, it's, when it comes to health, when I say 5 years from now, I draw the number 6. You know what that means to me? I got to get this tummy of mine, and I've got to get it down to hard 6-pack. I'm still working on that one, but I'm telling you, that's when I draw that number 6. I know what it means. I don't have to draw out the whole sentence. Say the word 6, I know it. I'm not going to tell you my money ideals, but you've got yours. We all do. Heart, what I want to have from my heart. Time freedom. Every one of you has a sentence that would describe it, can be broken down into a single word. And then after you do this day in and day out, you can write those words down in 5 seconds. Now, in order to lead to that top one, I got to come back to this year. What must get done? Well, I got to get a trainer to work with me on this doggone tummy of mine. I'm too darn independent. Frankly, I'm an independent cuss, and I think I can do everything all by myself. And it seemed to be working pretty good for me. But the bottom line is, some things that are really hard you can't do by yourself. You can't. You need to have somebody hold your feet to the fire. And so sometime this year, and the date I set, you write the date down that it must be accomplished, and then what must be accomplished on that date. So your dones are all dated. What are the dates that you want to accomplish them this year, in the next 12 months? Of course, as you accomplish it, as you get it done, then you'll open up a slot for another done. And you projects out for at least another year, but no longer than a year. I prefer that you set it to 90 days, or it's ideal, but the bottom line is no longer than a year. And in this year must get done. And then finally, back into today, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, whatever has to get done today in order to make the done of this year be accomplished, in order for the ideal to happen. So therefore, your planning isn't a list of 100 things you've got to do. It's just a couple things you've got to do every day, 3, to lead to 3 fundamental projects that you're working on, to lead to 3 ideal parts of your ideal lifestyle. You keep it simple so you can literally rattle it off the top of your head. Somebody asks you, what do you got to get done today? You go, well, I got to do this, I got to do this, and I got to do this. How do you know so well? Oh, because I've been doing this for the last 6 months. And every single day I start off by knowing exactly what I got to do today. Well, what else? I mean, when you get those 3 done, those musts are done, now what does that opens up the rest of your day. Anything else you can do? You got all kinds of other things on your to-do list, don't you? Well, go for those now. But the musts are the top of your to-do list. They are done first, if it's possible to do them first. You do them, or you make sure that if you're going to cross anything off that list that day, these are the only things that are so important, must get crossed off that day. That makes sense? Now, what I've rattled on here for 50 minutes about is a way you look at your life and how you accomplish and make your life an accomplished life. You have an ideal you're aiming for. It's a mountain. First, you got to realize, where is the top of that, and what's it like? Get clarity on it. Anticipate. There are going to be some challenges that are going to arise today that are going to stop you from getting to the top of that mountain. You know what the biggest challenge is? It's that little critical voice inside your own head. And your critical voice doesn't want you to get your musts done today. Wants you to procrastinate till tomorrow. How did that little voice get in there? That nagging thing that tells you you're worthless and you can't do it, and who do you think you are, and what's the matter with you? And everybody has one. I had a session here in Japan, and I'd never taught it this way in Japan, but we had 50 people in front of me, and I asked them, how many have a critical voice? Everybody. I asked them to give me the volume of the critical voice. Most of them was the volume of, on a 1 to 10 scale. Most was less than 5, but there were some 6s and 7s and 8s. People in their mind, this critical voice is so loud. You're an idiot. What's the matter with you? You'll never make it. Imagine that voice in your head like that every day, every moment of every day, and you're unconscious of it. You're thinking it's your voice talking to you. Well, why would you talk to yourself like that? So it's the big one. If you want to escape the whirlwind of life and you got this critical voice that's beating you up every step of the way, got to turn that voice off. Got to turn the volume on that voice down. Got to turn the volume on your true voice up. You got to realize it's a true voice. It's a cheerleader that's inside you, wants you to win, wants you to reach the top of that ideal lifestyle you've designed for yourself, and your critical voice wants to stop you. There is an enemy inside your mind, and it's always there. Unless you do your preparation, your ritual, so you develop this sense of deep peace about the mission you are in your life, the mission you're on. And you sense this is important. I'm going to do it, regardless of the critical voice. Regardless, I'm going to listen to my true voice. We don't have time to go much further into that conversation today. What I'm just sharing with you is as you anticipate the challenges that are going to reach you, one of the biggest ones is you, what you say to yourself. And your true voice is your cheerleader. Listen to that one. Follow that one. You're a winner. And deep inside you, a part of you knows it. Layered over all of the crusty negativity that all of our insides get, crusted over with. Deep inside, even deeper, is the truth about you. You're awesome. You're amazing. No, I'm not just saying this. You are. And when you spend time, pondering that, you finally come to the realization that you were put on this planet for good things, and you can accomplish them. And this true voice inside you will kind of lead you towards that if you learn how to listen to it. Life is good. Yes, it's tough. Yes, it's hard. And yes, we all screw up. No doubt about that. But we have a great future that we're creating, and you can create it. And you know you can. So as you bring your new person into this business, what's your dream? What do you want? What are things that are going to stop you? And what are the champions that are going to champion you? Do you plan time every day? Prepare yourself for this battle. It's tough. And then finally, how do I organize you? How do you organize yourself so that your mind is now learning how to rethink the way you look towards the future, and realize there's just a few steps on this path towards this ideal lifestyle you've dreamt for yourself. Let's make it happen. Let's make it done this year. Let's must the things we've got to do this year, this day. Must, done, ideal. Your thoughts and any comments or questions, you're always welcome to email me at author@robertallen.com. Forgive me if it takes me a week to get back to you, especially since I've been gone here for 8 days to Japan. I'm going to show back up today. For you it's Monday, but for me it's Tuesday. So here we have, here's the view outside my window. There's the Shinagawa station. The sun is coming up, a little cloudy out there today, but not too bad. This is Tuesday. And I'll be home tomorrow. I'll be home on Tuesday, back ready to hit it again. We'll be talking again next Monday on Goldmiind. Go find 4 people. Take them through this process. Next week, we'll go deeper into one concept. Good luck. God bless. And let's see, any chats that we have going on here. Anybody who wants to, any questions you have that you would like to ask, you're welcome to do that. I keep forgetting. Hold on a second. Oh, now I've kind of messed it up here somehow. Okay, Brenda, sorry about that. So somehow or other I have done something interesting to, there's my computer. Oh, there's my chats. Okay. All right, okay, good. Thank you, excellent information, thank you. You don't have to compliment me, I'll take it, but I'm sure if there's any questions you have or any comments or any improvements, I'd be happy to hear them. How do you access recordings? You want your team to see today's recording, you go to goldmiind.com, spelled I-I-N-D, and then at the bottom, right below it, Brenda, who you see there, my faithful assistant, will be taking this recorded call. It takes can take up to an hour for this to be actually posted as a right below on the goldmiind.com. You'll see it, and then that's how you get it. All right. All right, everybody. Let's see. I will thank you, Brenda, for being there every time I need you. See you, everybody. Good luck. I'll open it up for, yeah, here we go. I'll unmute everybody. There we go. You're all unmuted.
Thanks.
Say hi, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob. You always do a fantastic job on your teaching.